Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello, I'm Kristin. This is a corner of the internet where I come at you every other week or so and share what I've been making. I do a lot of knitting, I do a lot of crochet, I do a lot of quilting. If that's something that you're into, if you love making all the things, you're in a good place. Grab a tasty beverage and let's get into things. I am back from vacation. I don't know if you noticed I was gone because I do publish every other week, but yeah, last weekend, Dennis and I, we went to Arizona and we had a blast. We had so much fun. We went to the Grand Canyon, we went to Sedona, did a lot of hiking. That is very much out of my comfort zone because if you know me, I'm incredibly indoorsy. This is my comfort zone, but my husband, he gets me out of the house, I get my vitamin D, it's all good. But yeah, it does feel good to be back, to be in my little hidey hole here, sitting down, chatting with you. If you're a member of this channel, I do talk a little bit more about vacation, so in case you're curious and, you know, want to know more about my trip to Arizona, consider becoming a member, but more on that later. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of this episode because I've got a lot to share with you. I have an FO, a finished object, and a HO, a half finished object. So where shall we begin? Let's talk about the big finished object, the finished object that I'm so excited about, that I'm so over the moon in love with, and that is the 24 Birds Mystery Knit-Along. This was a pattern by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade Designs. Every year she does a mystery knit-along, and guys, if you watch this channel, you know that I am a huge Helen Stewart fan. Like any pattern this woman puts out, I need no convincing. It's a done deal for me. I could knit all of her projects. They're just so enjoyable. Sorry guys, my battery died. I apparently forgot to charge my batteries when I got back. Anyway, we're rolling with it. We're making it work. Anyway, I love everything she designs, and this pattern was no exception, especially because she asked me to dye the yarn for this mystery knit-along. If you don't know, I am the hand dyer behind Voolenvine Yarns. I run a small one-woman show, indie hand-dyed yarn company. And yeah, I was so excited to come up with the color combo for this project, and this is one of them. So I dyed 5 different colorways, and from those 5 different colorways created 2 different colorway palettes. The only difference between this colorway palette and the second one is that I swapped this colorway out, this marigold shade right here, for a darker teal. So it's more on the blue teal side of things, but for me, I really love this pop of, you know, this warm pop of marigold or caramel, if you will. But yeah, just a really fun collaboration. Helen, if you're watching, thank you so much for asking me to collaborate with you on this project again. Again, this is the second time that I dyed yarn for one of her mystery knit-alongs, and it's, again, always a blast to work with her. I'm very impressed with myself that I was able to keep up with the schedule. I mean, there was one clue in there where I was kind of lagging behind a little, but I was able to catch up. So that's, you know, yeah, gold star for me. Because if you know me, sometimes I have a habit of, you know, letting projects languish, forgetting about them, moving on to the next new and shiny. And I'm not gonna lie, it did get to a point where, you know, in this project, I think around this mark right here where I started to have like a wandering eye, I started, you know, kind of craving a new cast on, if you will. But that's not to say that I didn't enjoy every single stitch of this project. It was just, yeah, again, meditative, relaxing, chill. That's how I would describe all of Helen Stewart's patterns. So, you know, if you're still on the fence about casting this project on, my gosh, you guys, just run to Ravelry, run to Helen's Ravelry shop and download it. She also has a half pie shawl version of this pattern. I think it's already out. I believe so. I'll correct myself in the down bar if I'm wrong, but I will leave links to the 24 Birds version, which is this version, the whole full pie shawl, and then the 12 Birds version, which is the semi-circle crescent-shaped version. So you're not knitting like a huge circle. You're doing half of that basically. So anyway, there she is. I did take some photos, so I'll pop some photos here so you can see it. It's full size and everything. Pie shawls, they can be very versatile. Because they're a full circle, you can double them up and, you know, wear it like a schlanket like this. I mean, just for those, you know, chilly mornings, it's a great shawl. It's really beautiful. I'm wearing a microphone, so I'm not gonna wrap it around my neck, but yeah, you can do a lot with it. I mean, you can even just use this as a tablecloth or something, just like a nice decorative table topper. Yeah, it's just a really beautiful project, guys. Hello. 'Tis I, Kristin from the future. I just wanted to pop in here with some extra thoughts about the 24 Birds Mystery Knit-Along Shawl. I was scrolling through the Facebook group and a member had asked whether or not they would recommend this this pattern for a beginner. And that is a topic I realized I completely glazed over when I was recording. So let's talk about it now. If you've knit lace before but have never knit an entire pie shawl, I would say this is pretty much a walk in the park. You're basically just knitting in the round for miles on end. I mean, just, you know, comfortable lace knitting. But I will say, if you've never knit lace before, especially a pie shawl, this could be a challenge. So, you know, adventurous beginner, sure, but if you've never ever knit lace before, I would err on the side of something a little more simple. Easy breezy, if you will. And I will leave a link. I'll go ahead and leave some links down below in the description box to what I think are really great beginner-friendly patterns that I've knit when I just first started out. One of those is the Ishbel. Anyway, I digress. And I will say that, you know, even though I am a very seasoned lace knitter, I've knit many lace patterns before, this pattern in particular, I did run into a few hiccups. At no fault of Helen Stewart, it just came down to not paying attention to the pattern as I was going. Because I will say, in this section right here with the marigold shade, you get into a rhythm. So you think you know where Helen is going with the next round, and just the way that the pattern is repeating, but she switches things up a little bit mid section, if that makes any sense. So she'll introduce like a new yarn over stitch when you least expect it. A very minor hiccup on my part. And you know, I could have ripped back, but honestly, tell me where you see the mistakes, because there are plenty and I didn't rip back. So, you know, there's a lot going on. It's, you know, lots of lace. It's very easy to camouflage any error. But, you know, if you are an adventurous beginner and thinking about tackling this pattern, by all means, go for it. Highly recommend it. You know, the good old lifeline method will definitely serve you here. That's where you either take like, mostly dental floss is a really good lifeline tool to use. Every couple of rounds or so, just as insurance, you strand or thread a lifeline through your stitches. So if you do make a mistake and you do have to rip back, you have that lifeline there to hold your stitches and you can easily pick your stitches back up again. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. You know, beginner friendly, you know, choose your battles, you know, adventurous beginners, sure. But again, if you're very new to knitting lace, I would try some of the patterns that I recommend down below first. Again, lace is so much fun. I truly enjoy knitting lace. It's one of my favorite knitting techniques. I just find it very, again, meditative, therapeutic, and yeah, it's very, it scratches an itch, if you will. So anyway, back to Kristin of the past. And yes, I'm trying something new. I'm trying something new here. Press on nails, you know, because I'm so sick and tired of constantly having to paint my nails and have them chip the next day. So, you know, we'll see how this little experiment works out. I digress. Okay, Kristin, past, Kristin of knitting past. Bye. So yeah, that is my 24 Birds shawl. She's done. I am so in love with her. And yeah, as far as kits goes, guys, I'm so grateful and thankful for anyone who has purchased a kit for this project. And I'm still getting so many emails from people asking me when they can purchase another kit from me for this pattern. I am taking a break from dyeing kits for now, just because I had been dyeing them. I think I was dyeing these kits for about 6 weeks in a row, and I have to get back to dyeing my other colorways. Again, I'm one person dyeing yarn, so I have to get back to dyeing my other colorways, not to dust my other customers waiting patiently for them to come back into rotation. So I hope you can understand, these kits will be making a comeback soon. I highly suggest signing up to my newsletter. I will leave a link to it down below in the description box, along with everything else that I mentioned in this episode. So you can, be notified as soon as these come back in stock. Again, just taking a break. Maybe in a couple of months, I will bring these kits back. And I will, of course, be dyeing these colorways individually throughout, the next coming weeks or whatever. Just mixing them in with other colorways that I dye, if that makes any sense. So, yay! Yeah, and I think that's all I want to say about this. The yarn base that I used is my Nouveau base, which is 100% superwash merino, single ply, fingering weight. Easily my favorite go-to yarn base. It's so versatile and so incredibly buttery soft. Hands down one of my favorite bases that I dye. Although when I bring the kits back, I will experiment with other bases as well. So anyway. She's done. She's done. Very, very happy. Next up, what did I bring with me to knit on vacation? Well, I was hoping to bring along my faded undulation. This is mid-row, clearly, but this is a really fun pattern by Stephen West. It's very, very simple. I think I talked about it on the last episode. But just a simple asymmetrical feather and fan motif that kind of fades into different colorways. I was hoping to bring this along with me on the trip, but again, while I was packing, I was thinking, I want to travel light. I want to travel very compact. There was very little room for large projects for me to bring. So what do you do in that situation? Left the faded undulation home, and instead I brought some yarn to knit socks. Socks, guys, are my go-to travel project. In a bind when I don't know what to bring and I want to travel light, socks, they're great. So I'm happy to report that I have a finished sock. And I have to admit, while I did bring this project with me on the plane, I was in a sardine can situation. I don't know there are some planes, I feel like every plane that I fly on, none are ever the same. Like sometimes you get the leg room, sometimes you don't. For both trips going there and back, I was in the middle, and as tiny of a person as I am, I felt like I was crammed in a sardine can. Like there was literally no elbow room. I questioned the humaneness of the way this plane was set up, but it's bad when I say that it was so snug in there that there was no room for me to knit. It was crazy, guys. But once we got to Arizona, there was a lot of driving involved, so needless to say, I got a lot of knitting done in the car. Throughout the trip, from cast on to the heel, that's how much knitting I got while we were there. And then once I got home, I finished knitting the rest of this sock. And I'm happy to report that the second sock has been cast on. So no second sock syndrome here. I'm thinking about saving the rest of this sock just for future trips, which may be coming down the pipeline. So I may hold off on finishing it just yet, but can we talk about the yarn? This yarn, look how pretty that is, guys. It's stunning. I absolutely love this yarn. And if you guessed Patons Kroy, you are correct, because this is Patons Kroy Socks Effects in the Celestial colorway, I think. Yeah, I picked this up from Joann Fabrics about a few months ago. They were having a sale, and anytime I see a sale on Patons Kroy, I like to stock up because this is easily one of my favorite sock yarns to knit socks out of. It's invincible. It will survive, as I say all the time, it will survive the zombie apocalypse. It survives the wash, the dryer. You cannot kill these socks. They're here to stay. I still have a pair that I knit like over 12 years, like way before Dennis and I got married. So, 12, 13 years ago, I knit a pair of socks out of this yarn, and I still have it. I still wear them. It's great. They're brilliant. And the pattern that I used is My Favorite Socks. My Favorite Socks is my own sock recipe. I created a pattern for it. It's free. I'll leave a link to it if you want to download it. And there's a video tutorial to go along with it, which happens to be very, very popular. So, I've gotten really great feedback from it. But yeah, if you've ever wanted to learn to knit socks, definitely check out the pattern, definitely check out the tutorial. I hope you find it helpful, because once you knit socks, trust me, you will go through a phase where all you want to do is knit socks. But anyway, this is kind of like a hybrid modified version of that. So it's the same exact pattern as My Favorite Socks, but instead of the reinforced heel flap gussets in turn, I just swapped out a Fish Lips Kiss heel by Socks Therapist. Another genius technique to, you know, alternative heel to knit. So, you know, if you want to skip all the steps to knitting a reinforced heel and you just want to do a simple, you know, I love the reinforced heel. It just gives a really nice polished look to socks. But, you know, when I'm on the go, when I'm on the fly, I don't always have time to refer back to the pattern. It's a lot of steps, I'm not going to lie, but, you know, this pattern in particular, I just have memorized. So it's usually my go-to when I'm, you know, traveling or, you know, I don't have a pattern handy. So anyway, yeah, so that is one work in progress or half-finished object, if you will. Moving along, what else do I want to chat about? Yes, okay. So I have a bone to pick. I have beef. I have beef with Tommi of the Moonstone Makes YouTube channel and Katie from Katie Did Bags, because the two of them have been on a granny square crochet kick. And while I have been on granny square crochet kicks in the recent past, I tend to go through phases of crocheting granny squares and then falling off the wagon, forgetting about them. Anyway, I was watching Tommi's last episode and she's just been crocheting all the things, and it's making me so happy. I mean, first of all, I love Tommi. I love her channel. Like she took a break for a while, but now she's back and I'm just so excited about it. I just love her personality, her energy, and she's the best. Tommi, if you're watching this, I'm so glad you're back. I'm so glad. But yeah, she's been crocheting all the things. She particularly crocheted a granny square purse or satchel, rucksack, if you will. I don't know. It's a tote. We're going with tote. So she crocheted a granny square tote, and I was just like, I need one of those in my life. I need one of them in my life so badly. So what do? I went to Michael's and I picked up, I mean, first of all, they had this display case of yarn that I've just been, ever since I moved here to Portchester and I've been going to that Michael's, they've had this display of yarn that I just drool over every time I walk by it. And it's just like a wall of mauve, all like a mauve rainbow, if you will. I mean, they have some other colors mixed in there, but for the most part, it's like all the mauve colors that I love. So they were having a sale. These are pretty pricey, by the way. This is, it's Made with Love, the Cottony one, and I can never see what that signature is, but Tom somebody, I have no idea who that is. I'll pop the information in the down bar right here. But again, this is the hot cocoa colorway. I mean, it is, you know, it's a brown, but there's some mauve in there. And then we've got this one. What is this? Yeah. There's that. And then, so these are the 4 colorways that I got. I got more of the hot cocoa colorway because I want this to be the main color of the tote bag. And then these are going to be the centers of the granny square. But how beautiful is this, guys? I could not resist. So we are making a granny square tote bag out of these colorways. The fiber content in this yarn is 60% cotton and 40% acrylic. It's a medium weight number 4 yarn, which I believe is worsted weight. Again, like, yeah, I still, as much as I've been knitting and crocheting, I still don't have my my crochet numbers down. I don't know what they mean, but you know, I always have to look them up, but that's what that is. And I don't remember the names of the other colorways that I purchased. I'll, you know, again, links all down below. But here are the granny squares that I have. Only 4. Did I knit? Yeah, no, sorry. I only have 4 right now, but here's one. There's that one, and then this one. So I'm just, you know, mixing up the center colorways. There's no rhyme or reason to them. But again, I just really love the way that these colors are playing together. They make my soul so happy. And I'm not really following any pattern in particular. Tommi didn't follow a pattern either. I'm just, you know, I found like a basic free granny square crochet pattern online somewhere, and I'm just making a bunch of granny squares, and then I'm gonna graph them together and then just kind of improvise from there. And I'm using a size H 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. And I do want to say, like I mention this all the time, like when you are working with yarn and you find yourself struggling, like you're really working at it to make a stitch, to knit a stitch or crochet a stitch, definitely look into your tools, because when I first started crocheting these with a metal hook, I was struggling. I was putting a lot of elbow grease into my crochet, and I was like, this shouldn't be the case. I should be gliding. I should be flowing, and I certainly was not doing that with a metal crochet hook. And yeah, truth be told, metal and cotton don't really jive together. Neither does acrylic. I mean, that's when I decided to swap it out for a bamboo needle, and oh my gosh, guys, the difference, night and day. Night and day. It's like butter. Crocheting like this yarn and a bamboo crochet hook, it's like butter. It's just flying. So again, look at your tools. See how they play with the yarn that you're using, and you will be surprised by what a difference it will make. Anyway, getting off my soapbox. Okay, so yeah, that's just a little fun side project there. Moving on to quilting. My nephew's bar mitzvah quilt. His bar mitzvah is coming up very, very soon, and if you recall, in the last episode, I mentioned that because he's into baking, he's very much into creme brulee. That is his forte. I decided to make him a creme brulee themed quilt. And yeah, again, because I was away, I didn't make much progress on it, but here's where we are. I'm following the Under the Same Sky quilt pattern by Modernly Morgan. A really brilliant pattern. It's a really clever construction. It comes together very easily. Again, I'm using a fat quarter bundle of batik fabrics in colorways that I think kind of represent a creme brulee dessert. So it's got lots of caramels, creams, golds, you get the idea. Except for this pattern, I'm doing a reverse creme brulee. So when you look at a creme brulee dessert, you know how it's like all burnt and charred in the middle. Well, not charred, but caramelized in the middle from torching, and then it, gradiates out into a lighter color. I'm doing the reverse just because when I brought it into EQ8, which is a quilting design software application, sorry guys, I'm getting all technical on you, I don't mean to. I'm basically using EQ8 as a digital design wall, if you will. And I really like the layout where it was brighter in the middle and darker on the outside. So anyway, that's what we're going with. So as soon as I got back, I got right back into finishing this quilt because again, June, deadline is June, middle of June, I believe. And I finished 3 more quilt blocks. So here's another one. So we're getting into the oranges and the caramels, more darker colors. Here's another one. And here's another one. So, yeah. Making slow but steady progress. And today I think I'm going to put another dent in it. This quilt isn't going to be huge. It's the throw size. So this is something that he can just curl up with on the sofa if he wants. Yeah, so I think I'm going to be finished with this pretty soon. So yay! But because I mentioned that I'm going to be taking a break from the socks for a little bit, I do want to get back to working on my project for our epic make-along. So if you are new here, hello, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you don't know, I am hosting a year-long make-along here on this channel. And what that is a year-long make-along. So we're kind of midway into the make-along at this point. So the deadline is January 1st, 2025. So you still have time to join, hop on in whenever you want. The project, the world is your oyster. The main idea for this project is to feel accomplished by the end of it, like whether it's learning a new technique or tackling a challenging project or a project that's been languishing for a long time that you really want to finish. Again, there's no hard and fast rules as long as you come out the other end feeling chuffed with yourself, feeling like you've tackled something pretty epic. So that's the goal, that's the thing. And again, if you want to join, you can do so by sharing your projects, your WIPs, what have you, on Instagram using hashtag Voolenvine Epic MAL. If you want to engage with other participants, hop on over to Ravelry, the Voolenvine Ravelry group, where I've opened a chatter thread. There you can share what you're working on, post photos, chat with other participants, ask questions, engage. It's a lot of fun, and a more intimate, more exclusive way to participate is to become a member of this channel, where you will get an invite to our private Facebook group, and that is reserved for members of this channel only. So if you would like to support this channel and for the price of a monthly fancy schmancy cup of coffee, you can gain access to our private Facebook group. And if you join the A Cup of Something and Higher tier, you can gain access to my bonus vlogs that I put out every week. So, you know, if you can't get enough of yours truly, want to see more of me, consider becoming a member. And yeah, I publish a weekly bonus, very relaxed vlog sharing what I get up to during the week, life-wise, craft-wise, and all that good stuff. And I share stuff that I don't talk about on the main portion of this channel. So anyway, enough of that spiel. Let's talk about my project for the epic Make-Along, and that is the TULA Nova. So here's where we last left off. This is a pattern by Tula Pink. It is an English paper piece project, and I'm using Tula Pink fabrics for this. This is all hand stitched, so it's a very slow, meditative, but satisfying and addictive project. And if you're new to EPP, if you don't know what English paper piecing is, it's when you take a piece of paper, so usually it's like a tessellating shape, like a hexagon, a diamond, and it's like a cardboard piece of paper, like, you know, something with a little flexibility, and then you take your fabric, wrap it around the paper, and because they're tessellating shapes, meaning that all the edges will, you know, fit, they repeat, they all fit together like a puzzle, and you can continue adding on and adding on and adding on. They'll always fit together, if that makes any sense. But basically, you're sewing those shapes by hand together. The piece of paper inside the fabric holds the shape, so it gives you like a nice smooth edge to sew. I have a tutorial. I'll link to it up here in the doobly-doo in case you want to check it out. It's really, really fun. I so enjoy English paper piecing. I wish I had more hours in the day to devote to it. But this project, guys, oh my gosh, it is so fun. And I stalled on it for a while. And the reason is because, again, this is kind of like a choose your own adventure situation. I'm not planning any of this out. I'm choosing my fabrics as I go, and I kind of hit a wall. Like, you know, with the Tula Pink fabrics that I have in my stash right now, none of them are kind of speaking to me about what wants to go next in this next round, if you will. And that's how it works. It's kind of like knitting, you know, you start in the center, you sew the shapes around, and then you go to the next round, and then the next. You can do a lot of cool stuff with fussy cutting. Like a lot of this is fussy cut. So fussy cutting means you go in and you intentionally go in and cut out a particular section of the fabric. Like here is a fussy cut panda, here is a fussy cut rose, and you know, you can do really cool stuff like mirror things to create different patterns. So after giving it a lot of thought, letting this marinate a little bit, I think I am gonna go in next with some Cape Facet fabric that I have left over from my shadow play quilt. I've got a lot, guys. So I have a whole tub of it here, so lots to choose from. We're gonna take a little break from Tula Pink and go in with some Cape Facet. So let me see, I think, I'll show you some fun ones. Like, well, first of all, this one, the colors in here, I just really love. And I have to admit, Cape Facet is a little out of my comfort zone just because it's so loud. I gravitate towards more darker, muted natural shades, if you will. So Cape Facet is just kind of like a fun little rabbit hole I'm diving down, but he's still, you know, I can still appreciate a lot of his prints, like this one. I think I might go in with this one next. Yeah, that one has, I think that'll pick up on the monochromatic tones in this project, so I'm just gonna leave that over there. And this one I really like too. There are some prints that I'm just, you know, I love them. Like this one might work. Oh, this one's more my cup of tea. You can probably tell. Muted shades, there's some mauve in there, you know, some grays. But, you know, he's got some really wacky prints. Like, let me try and find one that's just, what was I thinking? Why did I buy that? Like this one. This is very wacky. I have no idea why this fell into my cart, why I purchased it, but I figured, you know, if you're gonna go Cape Facet, go big or go home, because there's no other way. There's no other way. But you know what? There are other, you know, fabrics that I can introduce, that I can mix with this one, that can kind of tone it down if it's a little too wacky. So anyway, it's a really great exercise. For me, this is like a learning experience. You know, playing with colors that are out of my wheelhouse and finding other colors or fabrics that work with them, so they kind of sort of fit into my wheelhouse, if you will. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud and kind of like walking you through my brain process right now and my reasoning and justifying why I bought all this fabric. You know. So anyway, that's going to be the game plan. We're gonna introduce some K-Facet into Tula Pink because, you know, the two of them, I feel like Tula Pink and K-Facet are both party animals when it comes to fabric, so we're gonna stick to that theme. And now I'm just rambling, so oh goodness, guys. All right, so I'm gonna wrap things up. Thank you so much, as always, for hanging out with me. If you've made it this far and you're new here and you haven't already, feel free to like and subscribe down below. I'm putting out videos for your viewing pleasure every other week. And again, if you want to see more of me, consider becoming a member. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? I think that's it. All right, guys, until the next video, have a wonderful weekend, happy making, and I will see you soon. Bye.